gang, gang. Hey, nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's a game till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip if they hate. We got all in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
We the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everyone, meteorologist Tuttle back with you here on a Monday. I had to think for a minute. I was out of town this weekend, went down to Aggie Land and got to watch my Fighting Texas Aggies. So I got to watch a football game. I haven't done that since 2007. So it was my birthday weekend, so me and Jody head down there and celebrated. She got to see her first official college football game, and she got to see how it's really done. So when you have 100,000 seating stadium, this is stupid big. I mean, it was not like this when I was at school down there in the 90s. But they spared no expense, man. It's like being in a pro football game, but just with the better atmosphere with the college, which is just wild and crazy, right? So we had a good time. She did. Took her to Midnight Yell. That's an Aggie tradition where we're in the midnight, the night before the game. We all get together and do some cheers. So she drank the Kool-Aid, so she's a bona fide Aggie member now. So welcome, Jody. So anyway, so that's where I was this weekend. I hope your weekend was great. I come back to find out we got storms to talk about. I'm like, good grief, are you serious? All right, well, it's still October. This is our mini severe weather season, which lasts until about the second week of November. A lot of years we don't see this, believe it or not, even though it's still there on the calendar. I think the last couple of years we didn't have anything, at least not that I remember recalling that was significant. But this time around we've already had a few events, right? And it looks like we're going to have another event for tomorrow. So thanks for joining me. Please like and share this video. Tell your friends and family about AT's weather, where they can get all the science-based information without all the hype drama and the big crazy words that just get you to click all the bait on the internet out there. Like, I guess something's going around called bomb cyclone or whatever. That's how little I pay attention to that stuff, man. I'm telling you, I'm going to blow your mind here. I don't watch the news. It rots your brain. I got way too much more important things to do. So I skip that. Therefore, I miss out some of these fun terms that mean absolutely nothing. But bomb cyclone apparently is going around. So anyway, we got some weather coming our way. So we're going to have a cyclone genesis here in our neck of the woods, which helped to generate some storms for us. And yeah, some of those will be severe. I'm going to post the link here on your Facebook main page. If you'd like to get notified from me directly via your Facebook Messenger, click this link I just posted. Several of you had done so, and those of you folks that have done it tonight, you got a message from me that says, hey, Arian's about to go live, so click the button and watch. That way you do not miss it, because I'm telling you, Facebook doesn't notify you for everything. And they're about to go through a completely revamp. You may have seen it. They're doing this whole rebranding, renaming all artificial intelligence. I don't know what Facebook is going to become. I don't even know if we're all going to be on it. But we'll see what happens with the notifications. Maybe that'll improve. But right now, this is the best way to get notified by me so you don't miss any broadcasts that I do, whether I'm covering tornadoes or just giving you the forecast like I am tonight. All right, with all that said and done, let's get on to business, shall we? All right, and there is so much to talk about, but I'm going to really condense this because I know sometimes it can get a little long-winded. And you guys got things to do. Well, I'll tell you what, we need rain. Here's the Oklahoma monitor for the drought conditions, and still in the abnormal dry to moderate drought across many areas. So we could use some more rain, so it is good timing for that. So won't complain about that. Now, the Storm Prediction Center does have us in a categorical, risk of severe weather. This is enhanced risk in orange. Yellow here across really most of 2/3 of Oklahoma outside of that boundary. And then it's light to cover pretty much the rest of Oklahoma. And in that risk, you do break it down to tornado, which is 2% ring there in brown. It's a low risk, by the way. That is not a high risk. Wind in that same category area, and hail as well, with a better hail potential up here in Kansas and northwestern Oklahoma. So that's kind of the breakdown on that. Here's a close-up view from the National Weather Service, which takes that forecast from the Storm Prediction Center. They work hand in hand, and they bring it down for you in a smaller view. So maximum wind speed 60 to 80 miles per hour, hail up to baseball size, and tornado potential is low. Keep in mind, most of the hail and potential for tornadoes will be on the western fringes of Oklahoma for tomorrow evening. The best potential the Weather Service has outlined is in this area here. Now, will this be the case? Or will it shift a little bit more west into the eastern Texas panhandle? And will it kind of be more confined into this area? That's kind of what I'm favoring right now, but we'll look at the data and find out. So there'll be still some room to play around with the specifics on this forecast as we're just in the 24-hour window. Timing-wise, it's about right, from anywhere from 6 to 9 p.m. out here in the lighter blue shading, medium blue from anywhere from 9 p.m. to midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning, and then after that from 1 to 4 in the eastern Oklahoma, which will include just into the Tulsa metropolitan area, but you can see the severe weather potential still there, but very low on the tornado. I just don't see much of a threat out there with that at this time. Quarter-size hail and 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. Now the analogs, which goes back in time and compares prior systems that look similar to this, not identical but similar, does indicate at least a potential for some wind damage out here across Oklahoma and Kansas. When you look at the hail, same idea across the western half of the state, up into Kansas as well. And when you look at the tornado right now, the analogs do favor kind of in that part of Kansas and Nebraska. Not much here on this run, but if we do look at another run that kind of does the same type of deals, it has a cluster of wind reports in the percentages of about 20 to 35% probability. So it's not a huge probability. When it talks about tornadoes, ironically, it actually favored eastern Oklahoma around 30% versus central or west. So these are just guidance. Sometimes they do okay. Sometimes they're out to lunch. So I always like to look at them just kind of see. But historically, the take home here is that there has been reports of severe weather when you look at a similar situation. But that's a no-brainer. That's why we're here talking about it. Now, the questions can be the quality of moisture return. If you look here, top number in red is temperature. Bottom number in green is dew point, 51 degrees. For the dew point, that's low, man. That's dry. I mean, that's why it feels so nice out there. It's in the 40s up here in Missouri, 60s down here in Arkansas, 50s still all the way down to Dallas, and then you finally get some 70s once you head down toward Waco and Bryan College Station. So there is some richer, juicier air, you might call it, in the lowest levels that make it feel more humid, but it's way down here. So it has to return back up to the north into Oklahoma for us to get any good storms. So will that happen? Well, let's take a look at the theta E axis. The theta E axis we talk about is where you get the ribbon of moisture instability that comes on. The purple area is the really true deep moisture. As we move into time through tomorrow morning, that deep moisture kind of mixes out. So it kind of does move into Oklahoma, though, to the western parts of the state by the late afternoon hours. So we do have this ribbon of moisture, which is kind of in a triangle pattern like this, right? And with the axis of it hugging right along the western counties of Oklahoma. Also, you see the deep purple colors are way down here. That means that's the real good juice. That's the deep moisture. This stuff here is ankle deep moisture, we call it. That's usually a limiting factor for really good severe storms and tornadoes, so keep that in mind. This is a favorable thing you want to see if you don't want severe weather. Also keep in mind the dry line is positioned out here into the east central Texas panhandle according to this model. We're going to look at others here in a minute to see where the actual position may end up being. But regardless, as we go through time for tomorrow evening, this is 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Oh, hold on a second. I'll jump. I'm in 3-hour windows. Sorry, my bad. 10 o'clock, and then here we go to midnight hour and 1 a.m. So in this, what you will notice is that the ribbon kind of stays anchored out here. It doesn't really move much. Okay, this right here is Oklahoma County. So we're on the very end, the fringe of the decent moisture instability, whereas the axis is still out here, say out toward west of El Reno, out towards, say, Weatherford and Clinton. So what happens is the storms kind of propagate and move east into this zone. They come into a more unfavorable area as they head into the I-35 corridor. Now that's good. That typically means a weakening trend. This is layman's terms. Big storms out western Oklahoma with the theta E axis, but weakening trends, they get off the theta E axis and into the central part of the state. Now, draw line potential is interesting because the models usually like to fight over this in the final argument. The high resolution HER model likes to keep the wind convergence out here right along the state line. Typically, though, the NAM model wins out in this battle, and it's got it out here in the east central Texas panel out here. Now, what's the difference of a couple of counties inland? Well, the difference is that more storms will fire out in the Texas panel versus Oklahoma to kickstart the event. Let's see here. Let's take a look and see how that's going to look. So let's break down the radar for you. This is a look at the model-generated forecast at how the reflectivity will show up on our radars when we start to cover those for you live tomorrow to represent the storms. So as you can tell, models are having a late start. So let me go back here. There's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It's finally getting some storms out here. Okay. As we head into 9 o'clock, it's got a few more. These are kind of broken. These look kind of supercell-ish as far as a broken, isolated in nature. A big one down here looks like around the Childress area. Whoa, get back in there, Aaron. Went a little too fast. Let's do that again. All right, and then we head into the 10 o'clock hour. You can see how there's a lineup of them here across western Oklahoma and southwestern Oklahoma. So again, if you live in that area, you're going to want to make sure that you have all of your severe weather precautions underway and you've, taken everything down that may blow around. 11 o'clock is still kind of hanging out there in western Oklahoma, and there is the midnight hour. This is a slower approach to the data. There's 1 o'clock in the morning, and then there's 2 o'clock in the morning. Good grief. Now, you notice what happened, right? You did see, as these storms that were gangbusters out here west, once they got up here toward the I-35 corridor, they started to weaken. There's not nearly as deep reds you see on there. Now, we do have this other batch that tries to develop in a second-hand motion in southern Oklahoma. That's closer to that theta E axis that has a little bit better shot at maybe tapping into some deeper moisture, and that does include and then runs into Oklahoma City by 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Now the northern end of it's very weak. Southern end of it actually weakens once it gets to I-35. Again, that's a limiting factor. It runs out of the juice. So once it moves into eastern Oklahoma at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't look nearly as severe or strong. These are just general variety of thunderstorms. All right, 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. You see some redevelopment here in central Oklahoma. Believe it or not, with these upper lows that come across, they can sometimes generate a little small hail. So don't be surprised if you get a little bit of hail in some of these thunderstorms that move through around the 8 to 10 a.m. hour in central northern Oklahoma. And they could be borderline severe because of that fact alone. Anyway, so there's 11 o'clock. And there's 12. The storms get a little stronger once they head into eastern Oklahoma from Tulsa, Stillwater, Ponca City, Bartlesville, down to Muskogee. Now, believe it or not, in this particular time frame, the models actually have better shear in this area. Now, the instability suffered because that line of storms moved through in the morning hours and kind of stabilized things and cleared it out. But the upper level low that's coming through is so strong it'll help to reignite these storms again. So don't be surprised if you see some embedded tornadic activity somewhere along this line. Probably more than likely, I can't even say. I got to say from really Tulsa down southeast to the southeastern tip of the state. And that would extend to Arkansas and looks like northeast Texas, northwest Louisiana by tomorrow afternoon. But it's a quick mover, so there's by 5 o'clock, it's out of the state. Even for you guys in Tulsa, you got a little wraparound, some rainfall there. Looks like the low stalls out for a few hours, so you're going to have some lingering showers into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Looks like that low just stops, just anchors for a little bit. So you guys will probably stay in the clouds and cooler temperatures as a result. So, okay, recap again. If you missed it, just tuning in late. Storm should erupt by Tuesday, tomorrow, in the late afternoon, early evening hours out here in the eastern Texas Panhandle. We're talking probably closer to 7 o'clock start. Then they slowly move to the east-northeast. By 10 o'clock, they're still out here in western Oklahoma. Now, the models will suffer sometimes on timing, so we got to cut it some slack when they're far out on the exact time frame. But it doesn't really have much in the metro area until probably back after midnight. All right, and then it's got a split view here. Some storms south, some storms north, and they kind of move through eastern Oklahoma after 4 and 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. Wrap around here Wednesday morning here for Oklahoma City. That moves out pretty quick, and then it wraps around for eastern Oklahoma for Wednesday afternoon. In the early afternoon hours, could still squeeze out a tornado or two down there in the afternoon hours. More silver probability, even though it's low, than it is for Tuesday night. Tuesday night, the best shot of a tornado. Let's take a look. I'm glad you asked. Here is a look at the tornado parameters. Let's see. So here is 7 o'clock. The brighter the color, the stronger the parameter of the mixed ingredients of a strong tornado. There's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Oh, midnight. See what's happening? it's going lower and lower and lower until it's almost non-existent. So that's good news. It's a good trend, right? That does keep it over the western half of the state. So in other words, west of I-35. That's your best parameters to see a potential tornado, with the highest really being along the western counties of the state. If we look at maximum helicity tracks, which is where the storm updraft is going to be spinning enough to do a couple of things. One, produce a little bit of hail. Two, a little bit of damaging wind, and sometimes you get a tornado out of that. But the max tracks here like to seem to favor this little area up here in northwest Oklahoma. This is southeast of the Woodward area. And then another one spot down here, maybe around west of Cordell or something down here near I-40. And it has that secondary batch developing down here in southern Oklahoma. That may be severe enough, brief for a while, to produce a little bit of hail, maybe some pockets of damaging wind. Speaking of both of those, it's interesting as the hail size, the models really don't get too aggressive with it. They're only up around this bright blue shading, which is about an inch to an inch and a half at most, in all these little spots here where it shows up. All right, so not going to be exact on where the hail cores are, but that kind of gives you an idea of what's on the table. There's always going to be the exceptions to the rule. There'll always be one big storm that gets out of control and it dumps something like 2 inches or 3 inches. But what it's telling you is that most of the storms should be on the lower end of the severe size when it comes to hail. Now, winds, there'll be pockets of some damaging wind within this. Anywhere you see the red is up around 50 to 60 miles per hour. And they're kind of peppered through central Oklahoma, southern, southwest, and northwest. So that's typical, though, for severe weather. There's nothing off the charts, that says 80 or 100 miles per hour in the model data, which is good. So that helps to limit the idea of any widespread activity. But there's always, again, going to have some storm that gets a lot of control. All right, here's a look at your forecast, by the way, for temperatures over the next several days. I hope you like it chilly. Hope you like it October-ish, because our last really good warm day will be tomorrow. Then we're back in the 60s for daytime highs over the next several days. Overnight lows dipping out of the 50s into the 40s to even the 30s. If you read my blog from Sunday afternoon, either last night or this morning, you got familiarized with this little pattern here from the 2nd through the 4th as some monkey business and some of the models that were trying to produce a little bit of snow in Oklahoma. And some of them did actually include Oklahoma City there briefly, I think, for a run. So the question is, with an upper level low that's going to come across, will it produce a little snow? And let's see, what time is it? 9:56. So I'm already done with the severe weather aspect of this discussion. So if you'd like to hang with me for about 3 more minutes, we'll go talk about the snow. You want to do that? Yes, no, thumbs up. Flood me with some likes or hearts if you want that. Give me angry faces if you don't want me to talk about that. And then I'll just hang up for the night and we'll call it. So I'm going to sit here and just give you a little Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. All right, I'm seeing lots of likes and hearts, so I'm assuming you guys want to talk about some snow. All right, let's do it. Now, I have not looked at anything today. This will be fresh, so we'll just see. We're not going to get too detailed. There's going to be a broad picture of this because there's no need to get into too much details way out there, right, in time, and that would be just silliness. All right, so we'll go with the European, which is usually the go-to. All right, now it's got some strong competition from the new American model. They're in a battle. They're in a race as to who is going to win king of the model superiority contest. So we'll go with the European first, just to kind of give you an idea. All right, so here's that little upper level. By the way, we're at the 500 millibar level. This is the jet stream. So the brighter the color, the stronger the energy. That's your storm system. So here's the one coming through for Tuesday night and a Wednesday. So that moves on off to the east. Look how it stalls out a little bit. See what I was talking about, that wraparound? So this one doesn't have it quite stalling out as close to Oklahoma as the other one did, but it still got the idea. All right, that pumps a ridge out to the west. That low is out to the east, hanging around, causing lots of havoc. All right, so here's Sunday, Monday. Complicated flow in the north. Okay, now we're talking. Now this is messy. Ooh, interesting. A little bit different than what I saw quickly peaked the other day. All right, so what happens is a ridge of high pressure loft stays there. Upper level storm system is down there to the west. There's another little guy over here. Doesn't do much for us, but it does drive a nice flow from the northwest. So the northwest flow, like this, is what drives in the cold fronts and drives in the colder air. So what happens is all this cold air that's bottled up here in Canada then shifts down to the south along the track. Now what we need is for some of this to ride up along the fringe of the Rockies and dump itself right here in Oklahoma. Then, number 2, we need this upper level low to be close enough to us to have a split flow and or come across once the cold air is in place. And what we have here is a split flow It goes like this. So that means this is your area of lift, and that's coming into the Texas Panhandle, Colorado, and Kansas. So if there's enough cold air in place, that means, hey, could be a little bit of snow here. This is just taking a sneak peek. This is on the 4th of November, so Thursday. So it's ways out there. But this is what the pattern shows today. That means it's going to happen. That's just what we're looking at. But that's how that would come down. So we need this upper level low to come across, and that would help to generate some snow. Now, in this particular case, let's see what it does. And I'll show you one other model, and then I'll let you go. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, so this is on the 3rd, so it's got the energy out here to the west. It does have the high already in. And, ooh, there you go. So there's the day of the 3rd. It has a snow across the panhandles, Oklahoma and Texas. And then it's got a little wintry mix down on Red River. Hey, what happened to the rest of Oklahoma? That's rude. So it has a little bit of stuff lingering across the panhandle of Texas, not much. All right, so the signal's there, but it's weak, and it's not as bullish as it was yesterday. But that's an example of how that would happen. All right, let's go to the American model. We'll just do the quick look at the snow output first and see if it does anything fun here. Big ridge high pressure comes in. Let's see, this is on Monday the 1st. There's your snow up across Kansas. Does it make it to Oklahoma? The high does, but the rain down south, any snow? Oh, it just melts as it crosses into the border up north on let's see, Tuesday the 2nd. So what you'll also know is that each of these models differ in timing a little bit from the overall pattern. But there's another reinforcing high that comes in on the 3rd. There's some snow there in the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas and Colorado with that split flow. Oh, but it doesn't do much else across the body of Oklahoma. It's all rain. Boo. Going through time. Anything else? No. Okay. One more model, the Canadian model. We'll see how it does. Come on, Canada. Bring us something. Tell me something good. All right, here we go. Anything. Rain down south into Texas. Well, that's lame. Totally disappointing. Cold air comes in. Some light snow across Nebraska, but does nothing for us. All right. There you go. There's your sneak peek at the monkey business around the region for the first week of November. So we watch and see how that plays out. The deal is the signal is there. Devil's in the details, and we won't know those until we get closer to it. But at least now you know what's going on in the extended, because we do have some colder air with that for sure. And the question is, will we get a little bit of snow, or will it be chilly rain, or whatnot? So that is it. All right, so here's the deal. Thanks for joining me, first off. And be sure to like and share this video. Post it on your walls. Thanks for the comments on YouTube and Facebook. And tonight, thanks for the stars. I see the stars going in tonight. Appreciate that. Appreciate your support. We'll do a live tomorrow around lunchtime. Usually I do it around 11:45-ish. It usually lasts about 10 minutes, something like that. They're quick. And I'll give you the latest data on timing and if anything's changed as far as the severity and the magnitude of that. I don't expect much. I don't usually change the forecast much at all. All we do is kind of tweak things on timing at that point, at that stage in the game, and then show you where the most favorable area for tornadoes, if they were to occur. So we can do that as well. But that's about it. I've got for tonight. So you guys have a great night. Sleep well. Join me tomorrow. Make sure you hit that link I posted earlier if you want to get notified by me. And then we'll do it all again then. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.